Man and Hawkeye were two heroes missing from the events of Avengers Infinity War. These absences were noted, and fans were excited to see them in the trailer for Avengers Endgame. But we have just so many questions, like how did Scott Lang escape the quantum realm? And why is Hawkeye wearing that costume? We'll answer these questions and let you know what they mean for the fourth Avengers movie. But before we delve into our theories about Avengers Endgame, be sure to click on the subscribe button and then ring that gray bell to get access to the latest videos. Let's get started. We had a ton of questions by the end of Avengers Infinity War. Obviously, we wanted to know about how our heroes would end up saving the day, but there were many more details we were curious about. What happened to Korg, and did Korg manage to get enough flyers printed? How's Captain Marvel going to fit into the MCU? And of course, where the heck is Hawkeye? Clint Barton may be a mere mortal, but he's an important one. At one point, he was a high-ranking member of S.H.I.E.L.D., as well as a founding member of the Avengers. Sure, he had retired in order to spend more time with his family, but as we all know, superhero retirements never tend to last long. He was back in action during Captain America Civil War, and when his friend Captain America asked him to jump, he pretty much said, "How high?" So the idea of him simply sleeping in during Avengers Infinity War rubbed a lot of fans the wrong way. Were there really so many characters in the movie that we couldn't include Hawkeye, or was he truly retired for good this time? Well, if you've seen the new trailer for Avengers Endgame, you know that he's back in action. But instead of flinging arrows through the sky, he was wearing a cloak and wielding a sword in the streets of Japan. So what gives? It looks as though Hawkeye has taken up the mantle of Ronin, a title used by multiple heroes in Marvel Comics. By becoming Ronin, Clint could fight as a superhero while keeping his true identity secret. Since he participated in Captain America Civil War, it could be that in order to protect his family, he needed a new hero identity in order to avoid interference by authorities. The comic books featuring Ronin tend to have a pretty dark tone, and feature a character who has undergone some sort of loss or disillusionment. It could be that Clint's family, all or part of it, didn't survive the snap, and that's what inspired him to get back in the superhero game. During Avengers Infinity War, we heard he was under house arrest for participating in the Clash of the Avengers, so this could be his way of getting around that. So not only is Clint Barton back in Avengers Endgame, but we will likely be seeing a version of his character with little, if anything, left to lose. This is definitely a huge departure from the smiling family man we saw previously, and we can't wait to see how it factors into the movie. Now that we've talked about the darker side of the MCU, let's talk about how glad we all were to see good old Scott Lang show up at Avengers headquarters. Even during the bleakest of times, this guy still manages to make us laugh. It's not quite a superpower, but it's still pretty impressive. His appearance is so shocking because the last time we saw him was during the movie Ant-Man and the Wasp, which made his fate seem pretty tenuous to say the least. We last saw our hero braving the quantum realm, while all of his cohorts disappeared when Thanos snapped his fingers. As Janet Van Dyne learned the hard way, it's impossible to break yourself out of the quantum realm without some help from the outside. So things certainly looked bleak for Scott, and how he was going to escape really began to bug us. Sorry, just a little Ant-Man humor. Anyway, when Scott embarked on his last journey to the quantum realm, Janet gave him a parting warning. She told him not to get sucked into a time vortex. We didn't think much of it at the time, but considering the fact that Scott clearly managed to escape the quantum realm on his own, maybe there was something to that comment. Could this be a way to manipulate time without using the time stone? We saw Doctor Strange hand the time stone over to Thanos during Infinity War in order to save Tony Stark. Many assume this means that Tony is integral in saving the world and undoing the snap, but it could also mean there are other ways of manipulating time out there. The line between science and magic has always been rather thin and hard to follow in the MCU. But is it possible that through the technology of Hank Pym, Tony Stark, or other brilliant minds, there might be other ways to travel through time without relying on the mystical Infinity Stones? This certainly seems plausible, especially since we've seen Scott Lang smiling in the security camera. We might have once said that it was impossible to escape the quantum realm, but clearly that's not the case. It is possible somehow. We just need to figure out how. The possibility of it involving time travel calls to mind the exploits of Doctor Strange in the mysterious and magical Mirrorverse. Could we find science and magic mixing in the MCU here? Janet warned Scott about time vortexes, but could they be the very thing which fuels the Eye of Agamotto and the time stone inside of it? If Scott is able to re-enter the quantum realm and learn more about the time vortexes, could he manage to use the power of the time stone to reverse what Thanos has done? We'll add those questions to our pile of unanswered Avengers questions for now, but it certainly seems likely that the ability to use time travel may hinge on the quantum realm. We can't wait to find out more when Avengers Endgame hits theaters.